It's Hispanic Heritage Month and spooky season is quickly approaching us, so here are some spooky horror books written by Hispanic authors. This Thing Between Us by Gus Marino follows a couple who move in together and get what is essentially this universe's Amazon Alexa. It starts to act weird, mysterious packages show up, and ultimately his partner ends up dying. And to deal with his rage and grief and depression, he takes a little vacation to a wintry cabin, and things quickly get out of hand. This book is cathartic, full of grief, and also kind of funny at times. Goddess of Filth by V. Castro follows a group of girls who perform a seance, and all of a sudden, one of the girls who is the shy one of the group starts acting possessed, as one would expect in a horror book. This story is short, gruesome, and pretty fun and spooky. Continuing with a similar theme, Jawbone by Monica Ojeda follows a group of schoolgirls who find an abandoned building, and they begin to use it as a clubhouse where they perform dangerous rituals and create their own fictional gods, and they start to become adrenaline junkies basically by making rituals that involve violence, like pushing each other down the stairs or making each other bleed. Things keep escalating while at the same time they have a new teacher who's trying to outrun her violent past. Of course, I have to talk about Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bastarrica. It takes place in a world where animal flesh has essentially become poisonous for human consumption, so to satiate the public's hunger for flesh, the government legalizes and standardizes the process of growing humans for meat. This book is very matter-of-fact as it walks us through the process through the point of view of our main character, who is the manager of one of the most reputable meatpacking facilities. This book was very haunting, and it was very sad, and it had some twists and turns I didn't see coming, and I absolutely love this one. 19 Claws and a Blackbird is also by Agustina Bastarrica, but it is a collection of short stories she's written. And a lot of these are very weird. In fact, I would say most, if not all of them, are pretty weird, considering her previous book where animal meat is poisonous is like a crazy concept. All of these short stories have pretty insane concepts, but they're short stories, so they don't really get into the why, but most of these are just kind of a vibe, and they were a fun ride. Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia takes place in 1950s Mexico and follows a socialite who receives a pretty frantic letter from her cousin who was recently married and had moved off to the Mexican countryside with her new husband. So she goes to her cousin's rescue because she seems kind of sick and her husband doesn't seem to be taking very good care of her. And this is a very slow burn of a Gothic novel, hence the title, but it's very creepy, it's very eerie, and I just love the vibe of this one, and it just really takes some crazy turns. Silver Nitrate, also by Silvia Moreno Garcia, takes place in 1990s Mexico. It follows two lifelong childhood friends. One is a post-production audio engineer, and the other is a washed-up soap actor. He used to be in Mexican soap operas. He went to a party and did a lot of drugs and drinking and ended up getting in a car accident with his then girlfriend, who ultimately died. Through happenstance, they meet an old director who they're both fans of his work, and he ends up telling them about old cults that were in the local Mexican movie scene and that were led by a Nazi, an ex-Nazi who had moved over to Mexico to try to take advantage of the locals and take advantage of the local movie scene. This book has cults, magic, Nazis, and the will they, won't they kind of relationship of the two main characters is very well written. I love their dynamic, and this book was just a lot of fun. So celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and spooky season by picking up one of these horror books by Hispanic authors.